Hello everyone and welcome to Games, Comics and Crafts.
In this series of videos, I'll be looking at the Judge Dredd case files in order and picking out the most prominent and important stories, as well as noting some artists and writers that actually appear in these books. Okay, so this is Complete Case File 16. Not gonna lie, when I was flicking through this one in preparation to read it, nothing jumped out. It was particularly interesting. Lots of small stories in this one, not kind of, and no massive crossovers. We do have a massive crossover coming from Volume 17. And it is largely kind of self-contained stories. There is one highlight, I think, in this one, which comes very, very early on in it, which is... So, okay, let's start off with this one. So this one's about mutants that invade Mega City 1. Not too bad. And then Teddy Bear's Firefight, which again is another mutant, so you assume they're possibly in the same group, but we don't know for definite. Artwork-wise, this is, yeah, it's not too bad. Again, 90s, I assume it must be 1991, somewhere around that era. 90s, 2000 AD was kind of, it had different styles than the 80s stuff. Nothing that massively jumped out. Obviously, you get Bolland and Esquerra and kind of all the the artists I loved since day one. But some of it's kind of a little bit experimental, especially the magazine stuff. And never a massive fan of that kind of style. I do like this kind of crisp, clean stuff. This is quite nice. Um, So this one is about a garbage bin that is found as a relic, garbage collectors, antiques garbage show. Um, Watch Dogs is about a group of people basically spying on the judges using their own versions. Talkback is about a radio DJ that is psychic, that hears the hatred of everyone in the city against him. Twin Box is pretty decent, which is a Twin Peaks kind of parody. Um, so this is where it gets. This is where you see a lot of this. Obviously, 80s stuff that reflected the modern day, and 90s stuff did the exact same thing. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. That's quite a cool story. Um, School Bully is about Judge Dredd going there to teach kids about the judges, which is again not too bad. Um, Clockwork Pineapple's about a um artifact that is given to the sub judge, or sub judges give over and it goes missing, and it kind of, and it's got some potential dangerous things to it. Again, nothing really jumps out. As they're good. They're nothing really is terrible. It's just there's no kind of like, after seeing Bloodline and Oz, and it doesn't quite hit the same kind of levels. Music is quite good. It is about a guy that basically tries to kill off a load of modern music because he thinks it's terrible, and people should go back to listening to the music from the 80s and 90s, which we got Bowie, we got Smiths, and that's not too bad. But again, kind of reflected of the 90s kind of era of that kind of stuff. It's okay. It's not too bad. Um, the Vidders is about a group of Britsit characters that go to Mega City and make a video about it, and all of the trouble they kind of wind up getting involved in. Again, not too bad. Devil You Know. This is the highlight. This is the best one. So, Devil You Know is basically about the Democracy Party, and how the dread that said that the city could have a vote on democracy, and whether or not they kick the judges out and somebody else will come in and doing it. And we kind of open up this citizen who's watching the TV, watching a vid call from a thing, and it's like, oh, you got a button there, you got to press the button, and he can't figure out what to do. Which, so like, oh, okay, when you talk to Barney, which is the computer, press A or B, and it's like, oh, nothing happened. It's like, well, it doesn't happen for 3 weeks. What are you on about? And it's like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? And so it's like, okay, right. Is there any other questions you've got about this thing? So, well, I don't know about this referendum thing because I thought we were getting a vote. And it's like, right, okay, you don't get it. So Dredd's kind of like doing his normal patrol stuff, and there's a group of judges in there that basically think that they shouldn't be allowed to do so. So they try and basically kill Dredd, and take him out, um, because they because they think obviously he's a threat to democracy, or democracy is a threat to the judges. And yeah, this goes on for a little while, and it's pretty decent. Dredd basically kicks the crap out of the judge. They kind of like turn their backs to him, and it's like, right, okay, no, I promised they'd have this vote. They will have this vote, and we get this conspiracy stuff of previous judges we've seen College Dredd run into over the past couple of years, um, including the Ghoul. And I can't remember where the Ghoul come from. I thought she was the assassin lass that got caught, but I could be wrong. Anyway, the whole thing goes on. Twilight's Last Gleaming is the actual day of the vote, and the Democracy Party people we saw previously arrested kind of come in, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have the vote. The vote's gonna kind of go against us, and it's like, okay, and it's like you can see the citizens are kind of going like, oh, we're watching TV. Why is all this? What's all this rubbish about election? There's nothing on the TV anymore. It's all the same stuff. Oh, just turn it over and do something else. So they don't get it. The mega city one is because 90% of the population is unemployed. Um, they just basically coast along, and whatever they're doing, they haven't got any kind of motivation. No, it's just like this is it. This is life. I get to sit here watch TV all day. If something gets in the way of that, that's terrible. I'm not interested. And it's a great little kind of parody story. It's really really nice. Um, and it turns out it's like, okay, there is uh 8 billion people in the mega city one apparently. 43 million votes cast. 29% voted for both options and got kicked out, and 9% voted for the Democrats, and then 68% voted for the judges. So there you go. They vote for it because, again, out of all those billions of people, they got no interest. They don't care. And the Democracy people like to just kind of say it's a fix, and they go on a protest, and there's like millions of people there to protest it. And basically, Dredd comes out and says, we've got to realise that they just want us to be there. The people that voted wanted us to be there because they're happy with the status quo. They don't want to change anything because they haven't got the motivation or to actually go out and do it themselves. They just want to sit back, let us take the crap. I like that story. And there's a little quote here from Dredd when he comes back from Lunar City about 800 million, not 8 billion, 800 million people. I mean, Mega City one, everyone a potential criminal, most evil, violent city in Earth, and God help me, I love it. That's Dredd when he comes back from Lunar City. Um, and I just like the idea that Dredd kind of just loves Mega City as much as it's terrible as it is. Um, Dredd's there to defend it, and his loyalty to the city and always has been. Anyway, that's the highlight. Definitely the highlight of this book. One bet is quite good about a guy who's jealous of a guy that spontaneously combusted, so he tries to blow himself up by infect kind of wish fulfillment, and then he gets struck by lightning, and basically goes nuclear and destroys a party. Destroys a block. Sorry. Um, Flag Fighters is about a fatty fighting guild, which again not too bad. But again, see, artwork wise, it's not terrible artwork. It's very exaggerated, and it's very kind of I wouldn't say experimental as such. When you get you get Dylan and you get Esquerra and Bolland and their kind of stuff, really really almost realistic. Not it gets a lot more cartoony. Um, Not a massive fan of it. But if you can read the stories and it kind of ignore the artwork, it's quite good. Again, Teddy Chopper Mitts, Edward Scissorhands parody. Again, not too bad, but you can tell this is what year this was kind of written in. A suicide book that basically gets everybody killing themselves, and it gets distributed to so many people because they've had such a bad time over the last few years. That kind of wipes out so many population. Art Geomancy is pretty decent. This is the return of the assassin, who is supposed to be trying to kill Dredd because they arrested Stan Lee. Max Normalmax return, pretty decent. Dredd actually gets a pretty good hammer in this one. But yeah, that's a pretty decent story. I'll give you that. I go into a couple of issues. Justice One. Now this is another decent one. This is a murder mystery in space aboard a spacecraft. Basically, they're going out into space to try and um, figure out kind of like do some tours of the lesser colonies around the planets and stuff like that. And it's not supposed to be Dredd that goes on the tour. It's supposed to be somebody else. and Dredd turns up, and there's like a massive conspiracy, and people are killing each other and all this kind of stuff. Decent thing, decent artwork as well. Really like the artwork in this one. There's a particularly good bit where Dredd is flying outside the ship, and just seeing the scale of Justice 1 is just really, really cool. But yeah, this is definitely a decent story, and it goes on for quite a while. It's yeah, that's it there. Little tiny Dredd against Justice 1. Yeah, pretty cool. Cool killers. Yeah, yeah, it's all right. Again, nothing jumps out after that. First of many is about Dredd's first arrest, which is pretty decent. Again, Cliff Robinson artwork, not too bad. And then after that, we get the stuff from the magazine, which is this is Dean Ormstrom artwork. Again, I'm not a massive fan of this artwork. It's not terrible. It's just a style. Just again compared to I just love that kind of inked black and white style. But yeah, Raptor was about this alien thing that's there. Again, not too bad. It's just yeah, yeah, not great. It's okay. But again, this goes on for quite a while, and I was thinking if Megazine came out every month, this is like almost like a year's worth of Megazine. So okay, fair enough. Then we get this one, which is got introduction to Judge Karen. Now Judge Karen shows up a few times in the future, I believe. I think she's in mostly Anderson stories, but I definitely remember her showing up. But that's kind of the best thing about that. Hand of Fate is about a cult thing, not too bad. The Boy Thought He Wasn't is a very confusing one. Again, it's just this weird angular kind of style. Not even the lawgiver's drawn straight. That annoys me more than anything else. You've got sheets. You got 20 years or whatever of lawgivers being drawn, and then you decide to draw not quite. Bugs me. Bugs me. It's like people changing Spider-Man's costume. Annoys me. So yeah, so that put a bit of a damp on it. And then we get this one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Priest Killer. It's oh okay, I've got his name now. Sam Keith. Sam Keith. I'm a fan of Sam Keith in for Max, and even obviously Sandman. I mean, Sam Keith did the original Sandman issues. Um, but just this style for Dredd just doesn't. I don't like it. I'm not a massive fan of it. It's just too out there. I mean, that's supposed to be Dredd. Yeah, not great. But that was a magazine at the time, so that's where it went. Next issue, next book even, we've got crossovers with the magazine and 2000 AD. So we see the interspaced rather than just kind of dumped at the back of the book. And I'm not too sure what continues after that because 18's got some good magazine stuff in it as well, from what I remember. But yeah, 16, it's okay. It's worth it for the Roxy thing. It's worth it for Justice 1. And obviously, if you're collecting these, you've been silly to miss out 16 just because it's not the best. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of very much of Volume 1. Volume 1 was just kind of like a collection of one-off stories where it's like, oh, it's all solved at the end of it, and that was it. There wasn't, that kind of big world building stuff. And we've seen 14, 15, probably from 12 onwards, we've seen these kind of massive world building stories for Dredd, and all that's kind of been dropped for this one. And this obviously this has got to be like a year's worth of 2000 ADs. We've just got these tiny drops in there of stuff. I just remember I probably read these way back in the 90s, but I just remember not being quite as enamored with 2000 AD back then as I was when it was the Bond stuff. I think the 90s 2000 stuff is going to be a little bit similar to this, the early 2000 stuff. But last couple of years in 2000 AD, we've had some incredibly good stories that really count, in the kind of the timeline. But yeah, anyway, that's enough rambling about Volume 16. I will be back soon with Volume 17. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I will see you on another video very, very soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.